Alright, let's take a look at a couple problems in Chapter 3, Section 3 about the derivatives of trig identities or the trig functions. And start off with, your handy rainbow over here because it seems to help me out at least. So I'm just listing these out over here. And the relationship is they're reciprocals of each other. So this especially comes in handy when you're rewriting functions, when you're trying to simplify. So for instance, cosecant, if you follow it back up, is just equal to 1 over sine. And secant would be 1 over cosine. And tangent, of course, is just sine over cosine. And cotangent is cosine over sine. Didn't leave myself very much room, so let me just write it like this. Cosine over sine. And of course, the other information is sine is all about the y and cosine is all about the x, and those are things that are certainly helpful when you're evaluating at a specific point. But here I just wanted to list these out. And of course, maybe it would be helpful to write what the derivatives are. And I'll do those in green. So the derivative of sine is cosine. And the derivative of cosine is negative sine. Derivative of tangent is secant squared. Derivative of cotangent is negative cosecant squared. Secant is secant times tangent, and cosecant is negative cosecant times cotangent. So anyway, just having those at your side is just kind of comforting. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at our first problem. Our first problem has t squared times sine of t and plus cotangent of t. So looks like it's going to be a product rule. So doing it in terms of f and g, it would be f prime g plus f g prime. And let's just identify our two functions. Of course, we have f is equal to t squared. So f prime, or the derivative of that, would be just 2t. And then our g is that sine of t plus cosine of t. And the derivative of that would be cosine of t plus a negative sine of t. And we'll just put together our function. The derivative of it is y prime. There we go. F prime is 2t times g sine of t plus cosine of t plus t squared times the derivative of this. We could rewrite this as cosine of t minus sine of t. And not much we could factor out of this that would be very helpful. They do both have a t to the first power in it at least, right? That's one thing you could factor out, but I would be satisfied just leaving it just like that. Okay, let's take a look at number 10, because it looks like it's going to be, could be a pretty complicated product rule. But let's just write everything out in terms of sine and cosine, which is a pretty good technique to try before you even start a problem, because sometimes things will simplify. Let's see if this is the case. So we have sine of x over cosine of x, and that is defined, that's how tangent is defined, and then multiplied by cotangent, which is cosine over sine, cosine of x over sine of x. And since these two terms are being multiplied, you can simplify that. Cosine reduces that, Sine of x cancels this sine of x. So this is just y equals 1. So what is the derivative of 1? Just equal to 0. So certainly you could come to this conclusion maybe if you did the product rule on tangent and cotangent, but it would get pretty messy. Anyways, hopefully you're moving right along in your homework, and check for more videos soon.